The 1980s were a time of excess, and nowhere was that more apparent than in the design of American cars. Automakers attempted to recapture the glory of past decades with flashy chrome accents, oversized grilles, and excessive trim. However, many of these vehicles failed to deliver where it truly mattered: performance, reliability, and overall driving experience. What remained were cars that looked like they belonged in the past, saddled with outdated technology and underwhelming performance. Here are 10 cars of the 1980s that were more about chrome than substance.
Dear viewer, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thanks for your support.
Number 10. The second-generation Cadillac Seville, introduced in 1980, was a bold attempt to blend American luxury with European sophistication. Cadillac aimed to capture the elegance of classic coach-built designs, drawing inspiration from the 1930s and Rolls-Royce sedans. However, the result was a controversial, polarizing car that divided opinion. By 1981, the Seville Bustleback had become known more for its awkward styling and unreliable engineering than for its intended prestige. The Bustleback rear end, meant to evoke classic luxury sedans, came across as contrived and ungainly. The sharply sloped trunk clashed with the car's otherwise boxy proportions, creating a disjointed look. Unlike its sleeker European inspirations, the Seville's execution felt overly forced, with an artificial sense of grandeur that did not appeal to most buyers. The car was frequently compared to a shrunken Rolls-Royce Silver Cloud, but lacked the elegance and refinement of the British brand. Cadillac equipped the 1981 Seville with the notorious V864 engine, an early attempt at cylinder deactivation technology. The system was meant to improve fuel efficiency by shutting off cylinders when they weren't needed, but it was plagued with electronic failures. The engine constantly switched between 8, 6, and 4 cylinders erratically, leading to rough performance and frequent breakdowns. Many owners resorted to disabling the system entirely to make the car drivable. Additionally, Cadillac's electronics were far from refined, and the complex onboard computers often malfunctioned, leading to costly repairs. Despite its luxury branding, the Seville Bustleback was not a great driver's car. Its front-wheel drive platform, borrowed from the Oldsmobile Toronado and Buick Riviera, resulted in heavy understeer and sluggish handling. The ride was soft but floaty and disconnected, failing to provide the composed driving experience that luxury buyers expected. Weighing nearly 4,000 pounds, the Seville was underpowered for its size, with poor acceleration and a lackluster driving experience compared to competitors like the BMW 7 Series and Mercedes-Benz S-Class. Cadillac misjudged the American market's appetite for European-style cars. While some buyers appreciated the uniqueness of the Seville Bustleback, most found it pretentious and outdated, especially compared to sleeker designs from Lincoln, BMW, and Mercedes-Benz. The car's styling did not age well, and by the mid-1880s, the Bustleback was seen as an embarrassing misstep in Cadillac's history. The 1981 Cadillac Seville Bustleback was drowning in chrome, a characteristic that only made its awkward styling worse. The massive, upright chrome grille dominated the front end, attempting to give the car an air of sophistication, but instead making it look old-fashioned. Oversized chrome bumpers stretched across the front and rear, further exaggerating the car's already ungainly proportions. Chrome-lined wheel arches and side moldings attempted to add luxury, but felt excessive. Even the Bustleback trunk lid was outlined with chrome, making an already controversial design element even more ostentatious. While Cadillac aimed for a high-end, sophisticated aesthetic, the result was an outdated look that felt more like an elderly person's car than a cutting-edge luxury sedan. While controversial, the Seville Bustleback stood out from the crowd, and some buyers appreciated its bold styling. The car's attempt at European luxury cues, such as the upright grille and coach-style trunk, did give it a unique identity, even if it didn't resonate with most customers. The Seville featured a well-appointed interior with high-quality leather, wood trim, and plush seating, making it comfortable despite its mechanical shortcomings. Cadillac loaded the car with luxury features, including power seats, climate control, and digital instrumentation, which were advanced for the time. Although the V864 system was problematic, the Seville did benefit from Cadillac's electronic fuel injection, EFI, which helped improve efficiency compared to older carbureted models. The innovative but flawed cylinder deactivation system made the car frustrating to own. The bustleback design felt contrived and was a hard sell for most buyers. Sluggish performance, heavy weight, and underwhelming handling made for a disappointing driving experience. Instead of enhancing the car's appeal, the overuse of chrome made it look even more outdated. The 1981 Seville bustleback struggled against several luxury sedans that offered better styling, performance, and reliability. Mercedes-Benz 380, SEL, a refined, well-engineered luxury sedan that combined performance with understated elegance. BMW 733 Brera, sportier than the Cadillac, offering precise handling and a more modern aesthetic. Lincoln Continental Mark VI. While also excessive in styling, the Lincoln had a more traditional American luxury appeal and a smoother ride. Number 9. The Lincoln Continental Mark VI was the successor to the massive, boat-like Mark V. But by the early 1980s, rising fuel costs and government regulations forced Lincoln to shrink its flagship personal luxury coupe. Introduced in 1980 and running through 1983, the Mark VI attempted to retain the grand, opulent styling of its predecessors while riding on a much smaller, more fuel-efficient platform. Unfortunately, the result was an awkward compromise that lacked presence, power, and innovation. The Mark VI was built on Ford's Panther platform, meaning it now shared underpinnings with the much cheaper Ford LTD and Mercury Marquee. While shorter, narrower, and lighter than the Mark V, it still felt massive and unwieldy due to its boxy, slab-sided design. Despite the weight reduction, it didn't feel significantly more agile, and the driving experience remained bloated and sluggish. The Mark VI came with either a 302 cubic inch 5.0-liter V8 or a 351 cubic inch 5.8-liter V8, but both were severely detuned for emissions compliance with just 130 to 140 horsepower. The car was painfully slow, especially considering its 4,000-pound curb weight. The new electronic throttle and fuel injection systems were unreliable, often causing hesitation and poor fuel economy. The standard 4-speed automatic transmission wasn't well tuned, making the car feel sluggish and unresponsive in city driving. Lincoln pushed advanced technology in the Mark VI, but many of these features were problematic. Digital dashboard. While futuristic for the time, it was prone to failures, with flickering displays and unreadable gauges. Keyless entry system, one of the first of its kind, but the keypads often malfunctioned. Trip computer and fuel management system. These often provided inaccurate readings, frustrating owners. Instead of feeling like a cutting-edge luxury car, the Mark VI became a headache to own due to constant electrical gremlins. Lincoln struggled to modernize the Mark VI styling while keeping traditional luxury cues. The result was a stretched, squared-off version of the late 1970s look, making it seem outdated even when new. While Cadillac embraced a more aerodynamic look with the Seville and Eldorado, Lincoln stubbornly stuck to its blocky, oversized design, alienating younger buyers. The Mark VI relied heavily on chrome to maintain an air of luxury, but instead of elegance, it looked excessive and outdated. Oversized grille. The massive upright grille took up nearly half the front end, making the car look like a relic from the past decade. Shiny side trim. Chrome strips ran along the entire length of the car, trying to add sophistication, but instead highlighting its awkward proportions. Fake wire wheels. Lincoln added faux wire wheel covers to enhance its premium look, but they looked cheap and tacky, especially compared to real wire wheels offered by Rolls-Royce or Jaguar. Opera windows and padded vinyl roof. Instead of feeling luxurious, these design elements made the Mark VI look like a 1970s retirement home cruiser. The Mark VI still had plush, pillow-soft seats and a smooth ride, making it comfortable for long highway trips. The air suspension system helped maintain a cushioned feel, though it was prone to failure over time. The Bill Blass, Cartier, Givenchy, and Pucci designer editions added unique two-tone paint in special trim, which at least made the Mark VI feel a bit more exclusive. Underpowered, sluggish performance. The weak V8s and slow transmission made it one of the most uninspiring Lincolns to drive. Too much chrome, not enough style. The excessive chrome and outdated design made it look like a leftover from the 1970s. Unreliable electronics. The digital dashboard, trip computer, and fuel injection system caused frequent headaches for owners. Failed to modernize, while Cadillac and European luxury brands were moving forward, Lincoln remained stuck in the past. While the 1983 Lincoln Continental Mark VI clung to outdated luxury cues, competitors offered more refined, modern alternatives. Cadillac Eldorado, downsized in 1979, but still had a more balanced design and smoother handling. Mercedes-Benz 380 SEC, a sleek, well-engineered coupe with far better performance and reliability. BMW 733i, more expensive, but offered true European luxury and driving dynamics that Lincoln failed to match. By 1983, the Mark VI was seen as a tired, outdated attempt at luxury, failing to excite younger buyers or compete with modern luxury cars. Lincoln realized the mistake and completely redesigned the Continental Mark VII for 1984, introducing a sleeker, more aerodynamic design with improved performance and European-inspired handling. Today, the Mark VI is mostly forgotten, overshadowed by its more successful predecessors, Mark V, and successors, Mark VII. While some collectors appreciate its quirky, over-the-top styling, most agree that it was one of the most uninspired Lincolns of the 1980s. Number 8. By 1984, the Chevrolet Caprice Classic was showing its age. Originally introduced in 1977 as part of GM's downsized full-size lineup, the Caprice was a successful model in its early years. However, by the mid-1980s, it was beginning to feel outdated compared to newer, more aerodynamic competitors. Chevrolet made only minor changes to keep the Caprice relevant, but it struggled to stay competitive in a rapidly evolving market. The boxy, squared-off look of the Caprice remained largely unchanged since its 1977 redesign. Competing sedans like the Ford LTD Crown Victoria had adopted smoother lines and more modern styling, making the Caprice look stuck in the past. The thick chrome bumpers and conservative design made it seem more like a 1970s leftover than a fresh, modern car. The 1984 Caprice was slow and uninspiring, even for a full-size sedan. 3.8-liter V6, 110 horsepower. A fuel-conscious but underpowered engine that struggled to move the large body, 150 horsepower. The most common engine, but it still felt sluggish due to emissions restrictions in the car's weight. 7L V8, Oldsmobile diesel, 105 horsepower. An infamous option that was plagued with reliability issues, including head gasket failures and fuel system problems. The 3-speed automatic transmission felt clunky and outdated, while the newer 4-speed automatic, overdrive, improved fuel economy but didn't enhance performance much. The cabin was plain and uninspired, with a dashboard design that hadn't changed much since the late 1970s. Cheap plastics, fake wood trim, and outdated controls made the interior feel low-rent compared to more modern sedans. The bench seats were soft but lacked proper support, making long drives uncomfortable. Limited luxury features meant it felt less refined than higher-end competitors like the Buick Electra or Chrysler New Yorker. Ford's LTD Crown Victoria had more aerodynamic styling and a smoother ride. The Chevrolet Celebrity FWD midsize sedan had already started attracting family buyers, making the Caprice feel unnecessary. Japanese brands like Toyota, Cressida, and Honda Accord were offering better-built, fuel-efficient alternatives. While many 1980s cars were moving toward a sleeker, more modern look, the 1984 Caprice Classic held on to excessive chrome and boxy styling. Oversized grille. The massive chrome-laden grille looked more fitting for a 1970s Cadillac than a modern sedan. Heavy chrome bumpers. Unlike newer cars with integrated plastic bumpers, the Caprice still used big, blocky chrome units that made it look old-fashioned. Side trim and window surrounds. While meant to add a luxury touch, the bright chrome detailing made it look more dated rather than upscale. Vinyl roof option. Many Caprices came with an optional padded vinyl top, a relic of the 1970s that screamed old man's car. Durability. The Caprice was built on GM's B-body platform, known for reliability and toughness. Many of these cars ran well over 200,000 miles with basic maintenance. Smooth ride, the soft suspension made it comfortable for highway cruising, though handling was sluggish. Spacious interior. There was plenty of room for passengers, making it a practical choice for families and fleet buyers. Police and taxi use. The 9C1 police package version was popular among law enforcement, thanks to its rugged body-on-frame construction and available 5.7-liter V8. Dated styling. The boxy look and chrome overload felt stuck in the previous decade. Underwhelming engines. The weak V6 and emissions-choked V8s made it slow and unexciting to drive. Cheap interior. The cabin felt like a mid-1970s carryover, with little attention to detail. Lack of innovation. Ford and Chrysler were modernizing their full-size sedans, leaving the Caprice feeling out of touch with the times. By 1984, the Caprice was struggling against more refined modern options. Ford Ltd Crown Victoria had a more modern design, better fuel economy, and smoother ride. Buick LeSabre offered a more upscale interior and better build quality. Toyota Cressida, a more refined, fuel-efficient alternative with better reliability. The 1984 Caprice Classic represented the end of an era. While it remained a favorite for older buyers and fleet customers, it failed to attract younger drivers looking for a more modern, full-size sedan. Chevrolet finally redesigned the Caprice in 1991, introducing a far more aerodynamic and contemporary design. Today, the 1984 Caprice is remembered as a reliable but outdated car that refused to evolve. While it remained a fleet and police favorite, for everyday consumers, it was clear that the Caprice had lost its relevance in the changing automotive landscape of the 1980s. The 1984 Chevrolet Caprice Classic was a decent, dependable car that overstayed its welcome. It was comfortable but outdated, chrome-laden but uninspired, and reliable but far from exciting. By the mid-1980s, it was clear that Chevrolet needed a major refresh, but that wouldn't come for another 7 years. Number 7. By the mid-1980s, the Mercury Grand Marquee was an aging full-size sedan struggling to stay relevant. While it retained its reputation for comfort and durability, it was built on Ford's Panther platform, which dated back to 1979. With its soft suspension, uninspired performance, and outdated styling, the 1986 Grand Marquis felt like a relic from the past. The boxy shape and squared-off styling made it look like it belonged in the 1970s rather than the mid-1980s. Mercury barely updated the design since its 1979 introduction, while competitors were introducing more aerodynamic, modern-looking sedans. The vinyl half roof and opera windows were tired styling gimmicks that made it look even more old-fashioned. The soft suspension and vague steering made it feel like a boat on wheels. Heavy body-on-frame construction meant it was sturdy but sluggish, especially in corners. The ride was smooth on highways, but around town, it wallowed and leaned excessively. Powered by Ford's aging 5.0-liter Windsor 5.8, the Grand Marquis had only 150 horsepower, making it slow and unresponsive. Weighing in at over 4,000 pounds, the Grand Marquis had a lethargic 0 to 60 time of around 11 seconds. The 4-speed automatic transmission was tuned for comfort, leading to lazy shifts and poor throttle response. With fuel economy hovering around 15 miles per gallon in the city, the Grand Marquis felt hopelessly inefficient at a time when many buyers were switching to smaller, fuel-conscious cars. The 5.8-liter V8 optional in fleet models had slightly more power, but it was still underwhelming and even thirstier on fuel. The plasticky dashboard with fake wood trim made the interior feel cheap compared to European and Japanese competitors. The velour or vinyl seats were comfortable, but offered no real support, making long drives tiring. Technology was lacking, with a basic AM/FM radio, analog gauges, and no significant upgrades over previous years. Competing full-size cars like the Buick Electra and Chrysler Fifth Avenue at least attempted to modernize. The Grand Marquis didn't even try. Mercury didn't hold back on the chrome overdose, trying to make the Grand Marquis look upscale, but instead it just looked gaudy. Massive chrome grille, a giant vertical bar grille that looked excessive and old-fashioned, full-length chrome side trim. Nearly every body panel had some form of brightwork, making it look more like a car from the 1960s than the 1980s. Bumper chrome overload. Instead of integrating modern plastic bumpers like newer cars, the Grand Marquis had chunky chrome slabs that felt out of place. Faux wire wheel covers. Instead of real alloy wheels, Mercury stuck with fake wire wheel hubcaps, a gimmick that felt more at home on a 1970s luxury barge. Despite its aging platform and dated looks, the 1986 Mercury Grand Marquis had a few redeeming qualities. Smooth ride, the pillowy suspension absorbed bumps effortlessly, making it a great highway cruiser. Roomy interior. The Grand Marquis had plenty of space for passengers, making it comfortable for families and older buyers. Durability. The Panther platform was known for longevity, making it popular among fleet buyers, taxi companies, and law enforcement. Comfortable, if uninspiring. While it was slow, outdated, and chrome-heavy, it did what it was built for, providing a soft, isolated driving experience. Dated styling, overly boxy, chrome-laden, and conservative, it felt more at home in 1975 than in 1986. Poor handling, floaty, imprecise, and sluggish. The Grand Marquis was a land yacht that felt clumsy on the road. Weak performance. The 5.0-liter V8 was underpowered, and the optional 5.8-liter V8 didn't improve much. Fuel inefficiency. With poor gas mileage, it was out of touch with the fuel-conscious market of the 1980s. Lack of innovation. Competitors were modernizing their full-size sedans, but the Grand Marquis remained stuck in the past. By 1986, several full-size sedans offered more modern features and better performance. Buick Electra, more refined, with a better ride and a sleeker design. Chrysler Fifth Avenue offered a more upscale feel and better fuel economy. Chevrolet Caprice, while also outdated, it had a more balanced design and better engine options. The 1986 Grand Marquis was a car for an audience that didn't want change. It remained popular with older buyers and fleet operators, but younger buyers avoided it in favor of sportier, more modern sedans. By the late 1980s, it was clear that the Grand Marquis needed a redesign, but Mercury waited until 1992 to finally modernize it. The 1986 Mercury Grand Marquis was a dinosaur in a world that was rapidly moving forward. Its boxy, chrome-covered design, floaty handling, and uninspired performance made it feel like a relic of a bygone era. While it was comfortable and reliable, it was out of touch with the changing automotive landscape. A car designed for those who refuse to embrace the future. Number 6. By 1987, the Oldsmobile Delta 88 Royale Brougham was one of the last remnants of the classic American full-size sedan formula. Though once a respected name in the luxury sedan market, by the late 1980s, the Delta 88 was an outdated land yacht. It offered a soft ride, plush seats, and a chrome-heavy design, but it failed to keep up with the modern automotive world. The boxy, squared-off design was a holdover from the 1970s, making it feel ancient compared to sleeker competitors. The opera windows, vinyl roof, and fake wire wheels made it look like something your grandfather would drive. The excessive chrome accents were meant to add class, but instead made it look like a flashy relic from another era. The standard 3.8-liter V6 Buick's 3800 produced only 150 horsepower, which was barely enough to move this 4,000-pound behemoth. The 4-speed automatic transmission was geared for comfort, leading to sluggish acceleration and slow throttle response. The steering was vague, and the soft suspension made handling feel like you were piloting a boat rather than a car. The Delta 88 prioritized comfort over everything else, but that meant zero road feel and excessive body roll. Driving it felt like being on a couch with wheels. Great for cruising in a straight line, but a nightmare in corners. The car was prone to bouncing over bumps, and sharp turns resulted in a lot of body lean. While the 3.8-liter V6 was somewhat economical for a full-size car, it still guzzled fuel compared to smaller, more modern sedans. At a time when automakers were embracing front-wheel drive and fuel-efficient designs, the Delta 88 clung to its old-school, fuel-thirsty roots. Its EPA-rated 18 miles per gallon city, 27 miles per gallon highway wasn't awful, but it was still less efficient than newer, lighter vehicles with better aerodynamics. The plush velour seats and fake wood dashboard screamed 1980s luxury, but not in a good way. While it was comfortable, the cabin felt outdated, with a design nearly unchanged since the late 1970s. No real technological advancements. It had basic AM/FM radios, cassette players, and analog gauges, while competitors were offering more advanced digital displays and improved infotainment systems. Oversized chrome grille, a massive, vertically slatted grille, made the front look unnecessarily flashy. Chrome headlight surrounds. The headlights were framed in thick chrome, making the front end look heavier than it needed to be. Full-length chrome side trim. Nearly every panel of the car had some form of shiny trim, as if Oldsmobile thought more chrome equaled more luxury. Fake wire wheel covers. Instead of modern alloy wheels, Oldsmobile stuck with cheap wire-style hubcaps, a gimmick that felt tacky and outdated. Vinyl roof with chrome accents. The half-vinyl roof with chrome trim was meant to add elegance, but only made the car look even older than it was. Comfortable ride. The cushy suspension and soft seats made it a smooth-riding highway cruiser. Durability. The 3.8-liter V6 was bulletproof, and many Delta 88s ran for hundreds of thousands of miles. Roomy interior. It offered plenty of space, making it comfortable for long-distance travel. Old-school American luxury. For buyers who didn't care about performance or modern styling, the Delta 88 provided a quiet, smooth experience. Dated styling. Boxy, chrome-heavy, and old-fashioned. It looked stuck in the past. Sluggish performance. The V6 was underpowered, and the heavy body made acceleration painful. Floaty handling, wallowing suspension, and vague steering made it feel like a land yacht. Lack of innovation. While competitors embraced modern designs, better technology, and front-wheel drive, Oldsmobile stuck with outdated body-on-frame construction. Too much chrome. Instead of modernizing, Oldsmobile just kept adding more chrome, hoping it would distract from the car's lack of real improvements. Buick Electra, a sleeker, more refined alternative with better aerodynamics and updated styling. Ford Crown Victoria, also old school, but handled better and had a more modern look. Chrysler New Yorker offered a more fuel-efficient front-wheel drive layout with better tech. Chevrolet Caprice Classic, another aging design, but it had better proportions and a slightly more refined ride. The Delta 88 was one of the last dinosaurs of American full-size sedans. By the late 1980s, buyers were shifting toward more fuel-efficient, modern cars, and Oldsmobile was slow to adapt. The Delta 88 was finally redesigned in 1989, moving to front-wheel drive and a sleeker, more contemporary look. However, by that time, Oldsmobile's reputation was fading, and younger buyers weren't interested in their old-school sedans anymore. The brand would eventually fade into obscurity, with Oldsmobile being discontinued entirely by 2004. The 1987 Oldsmobile Delta 88 Royale Brougham was a rolling relic of the past. It was comfortable but outdated, flashy but uninspired, and chrome-covered but unimpressive. Number 5. By 1989, the Lincoln Town Car had solidified its reputation as the go-to luxury sedan for traditional American buyers. But that was also part of its problem. While it was undeniably comfortable and spacious, it was hopelessly outdated, sticking to a 1970s-inspired design and engineering philosophy at a time when competitors were modernizing. The Town Car was built for highway cruising, not performance, and its body-on-frame construction, sluggish V8, and floaty suspension made it feel like a luxury cruise ship on wheels. It was still popular with chauffeurs, retirees, and limousine companies, but for buyers seeking cutting-edge luxury and refinement, the town car was a disappointment. By 1989, the town car looked nearly identical to the 1980 model, which itself was a mild redesign of the 1970s Continentals. Its boxy, squared-off shape was starting to feel stale, in an era where luxury cars were becoming sleeker and more aerodynamic. While some buyers loved its formal, imposing presence, younger consumers saw it as an old man's car. Details like fake wire wheels, padded vinyl roofs, and opera windows only made it seem even more like a throwback to the past. Despite being a full-size luxury sedan, the town car's 5.0-liter Windsor V8 only produced 150 horsepower and 270 pound-feet of torque. At nearly 4,000 pounds, the town car had poor acceleration, with 0 to 60 miles per hour taking around 11 seconds, slower than some compact economy cars of the era. The 4-speed automatic transmission was smooth but lazy, tuned for soft shifts rather than responsiveness. While low-end torque was decent, it felt underpowered when merging or passing on the highway. The town car's soft suspension was great for absorbing bumps, but it also meant excessive body roll and vague steering. Taking a corner felt like steering a yacht, with slow, disconnected steering that offered no road feel. The rear-wheel drive, body-on-frame platform made the car feel unnecessarily heavy, and braking distances were long due to its weight. Compared to newer front-wheel drive luxury sedans with better weight distribution, the town car felt like a dinosaur on the road. The interior was spacious and comfortable, but it felt stuck in the 1970s with its padded velour seats and wood grain trim. Digital dash options were available, but they looked cheap and gimmicky compared to European competitors. No advanced features like anti-lock brakes, optional but not standard, traction control, or modern infotainment systems. Even American competitors like the Cadillac Seville were starting to adopt more contemporary tech and design updates, while Lincoln remained stubbornly old school. With its aging 5.0-liter V8 and hefty curb weight, the town car was far from fuel efficient. EPA rated at 15 miles per gallon city/22 miles per gallon highway. It was thirstier than many newer V6-powered competitors. While some buyers didn't mind the fuel economy, it made the car a tough sell for younger drivers who wanted something more practical. Massive chrome grille. The front end was dominated by a huge, shiny grille, which looked more fitting for a Rolls-Royce wannabe than a modern luxury sedan. Full-length chrome trim. Lincoln didn't hold back, putting chrome trim along the fenders, bumpers, windows, and doors. Chrome hood ornament. No luxury car was complete without a flashy hood ornament, even if it felt outdated by the late 80s. Chrome bumpers. While most competitors had body-colored or integrated bumpers, the town car stuck with chrome-heavy bumpers, making it look even more old-fashioned. Fake wire wheels. Rather than modern alloy wheels, Lincoln opted for wire-style hubcaps with shiny chrome covers, padded vinyl roof with chrome accents. Many models came with a half-vinyl roof, often lined with additional chrome trim, making it look more like a limousine than a personal luxury sedan. Unmatched ride comfort. The plush suspension and soft seats made it one of the most comfortable American cars of the era. Strong build quality. The body-on-frame construction meant it was rugged and long-lasting, perfect for limousine and taxi fleets. Huge, spacious interior. With plenty of legroom and a massive trunk, it was great for long road trips. Loyal customer base. Despite its flaws, the town car had a devoted following, especially among older drivers and limousine companies. Lincoln finally redesigned the town car in 1990, giving it a more aerodynamic shape, improved handling, and a more refined interior. However, by that time, the luxury car landscape was shifting. European brands and Japanese newcomers like Lexus and Infiniti were offering better performance, advanced technology, and superior quality, making old-school American land yachts increasingly obsolete. While the 1990s town cars remained popular with limousine fleets, Lincoln never fully recovered its status as a dominant luxury brand. The town car nameplate survived until 2011, but by then it was seen as a dated, fleet-focused sedan with little mainstream appeal. Number 4. By 1980, AMC American Motors Corporation was desperately trying to compete with bigger automakers while working with a shrinking budget and outdated platforms. The AMC Concord was their attempt at creating a luxury compact aimed at buyers who wanted comfort and style in a smaller package. However, in reality, the Concord was just a dressed-up Hornet, an economy car from the early 1970s. Despite AMC's efforts to make it look upscale with chrome and fancy trim, the Concord was outdated, slow, and unimpressive, failing to deliver true luxury. The Concord was based on the 1970 AMC Hornet, a compact car that was already nearly a decade old. Instead of redesigning it from the ground up, AMC added more chrome, wood grain trim, and plush seats, hoping to make it feel premium. Underneath, however, it was still a basic economy car with a simple suspension and outdated engineering. Competitors like the Buick Skylark and Ford Granada had already moved forward with more modern designs, making the Concord feel like a relic even when new. Buyers could choose from several engines, but none of them made the Concord feel quick. 2.5 Li4 Iron Duke, 86 horsepower, slow, underpowered, and noisy. 8L V6, 110 horsepower, better, but still uninspiring. Point i6, 110 horsepower, decent torque, but sluggish. Promendal V8, 125 horsepower, not much better considering the weight. Even with the available V8, the Concord struggled with acceleration, taking over 11 seconds to reach 60 miles per hour. The 3-speed automatic transmission was clunky, making the car feel even less refined. Despite being a compact car, the Concord had soft suspension tuning, which made it comfortable but awful to drive. Excessive body roll made cornering feel unstable and imprecise. The steering was vague, giving drivers very little road feel. Competitors like the Chevrolet Citation and Ford Fairmont had moved toward more modern front-wheel drive layouts, while the Concord still used an old rear-wheel drive setup that felt outdated. AMC was running low on cash by the 1980s, leading to cost-cutting measures that hurt the Concord's overall quality. Owners complained about electrical issues, interior trim falling apart, and poor fit and finish. The Iron Duke 4-cylinder engine was reliable but rough and unrefined. Rust was a serious problem, especially in northern climates, as AMC did not invest in proper corrosion protection. AMC marketed the Concord as a premium car, but it couldn't compete with actual luxury brands. The interior had plush velour seats, fake wood trim, and a padded dashboard, but it still felt cheap compared to real luxury compacts. It lacked many modern features, such as fuel injection, digital displays, or advanced sound systems, making it feel outdated. The Concord wasn't much cheaper than its competition, making buyers question why they wouldn't just get a better car from a bigger brand. AMC thought adding chrome would make the Concord look luxurious, but it only highlighted its flaws. Fake Rolls-Royce-style grille. One of the most ridiculous design choices was the vertical chrome grille, clearly trying to imitate Rolls-Royce. Instead of looking upscale, it made the car look pretentious and awkward. Overuse of chrome trim. Chrome lined the windows, bumpers, wheel wells, and even the lower body panels, making the car look tacky rather than elegant. Padded vinyl roof. Many models came with a vinyl roof with extra chrome accents, making it look even more like a budget luxury knockoff. Fake wire wheel covers. Instead of actual alloy wheels, AMC used cheap plastic wheel covers designed to look like wire wheels, which only added to the car's fake upscale appearance. Comfortable ride, the soft suspension and plush seats made it one of the more comfortable compact cars of the time. Affordable compared to luxury competitors. While not truly luxurious, it was cheaper than a Cadillac or Lincoln, decent fuel economy with the 4-cylinder. While underpowered, the 2.5-liter Iron Duke engine delivered solid fuel economy for the time. Quirky AMC appeal. Today it's a rare collector's item because of its odd mix of economy and luxury styling. The AMC Concord lasted until 1983, But by that point, it was completely obsolete. AMC replaced it with the Renault Alliance, a front-wheel drive subcompact that was arguably even worse. While the Concord had a small following among buyers who wanted something different, it never truly succeeded as a luxury compact. Instead, it became yet another example of AMC's struggles in the 1980s, trying to make do with limited resources and outdated platforms. Today, the AMC Concord is mostly forgotten, except by die-hard AMC enthusiasts who appreciate its weird attempt at budget luxury. The 1980 AMC Concord tried to be a luxury compact, but failed miserably. It was underpowered, outdated, and filled with fake upscale touches that fooled no one. Instead of competing with true luxury brands, it ended up feeling like a dressed-up economy car that struggled to find an audience. Number 3. By the time the 1981 Chevrolet Monte Carlo rolled onto the scene, it was a shadow of its former self. Once a bold personal luxury coupe with muscle car credibility, the Monte Carlo had become a slow, emissions-strangled, and downsized version of what it used to be. With federal regulations, rising fuel prices, and GM's cost-cutting in full effect, the 1981 Monte Carlo was more about style than substance, and even its style wasn't enough to make up for its disappointments. In the 1970s, the Monte Carlo had a strong muscle car image, with big block V8s and aggressive styling. By 1981, it was a bloated personal luxury coupe with anemic engine options. Despite its smaller size after GM's 1978 downsizing, it still felt heavy and sluggish. Gone were the days of high-horsepower big blocks. Instead, buyers had to settle for weak, emissions-choked engines. 3.8-liter, 229 cubic inches, V6, 110 horsepower, pathetically underpowered for a coupe of this size. 4.4 liters, 267 cubic inches, V8, 115 horsepower, laughably weak for a V8, 150 horsepower, the high-performance option, but still unimpressive. Diesel 5.7 liter, 350 cubic inches, V8, 105 horsepower, a terrible, unreliable engine that barely moved the car. Even with the 305 V8, the Monte Carlo struggled to hit 60 miles per hour in under 11 seconds, making it slower than many economy cars of the era. The 3-speed automatic transmission made acceleration feel even less exciting, as it was geared for fuel economy rather than performance. The original Monte Carlo was known for its power and smooth ride, but the 1981 model went too far in the wrong direction. GM tuned the suspension for comfort, not performance, meaning unresponsive, vague steering that made it feel disconnected from the road. A floaty, boat-like ride that felt outdated compared to more modern competitors. While some buyers appreciated the luxury-like ride quality, it alienated those who remembered the Monte Carlo as a sporty coupe. GM was notorious for cost-cutting in the early 1980s, and the Monte Carlo suffered for it. The interior felt cheap, with plasticky materials, fake wood trim, and low-quality fabrics. Loose-fitting panels and rattles became common as the car aged. The seats were soft and comfortable but lacked support, making long drives feel tiring rather than enjoyable. Dash and door panel warping were common issues, even in well-maintained cars. The Monte Carlo's exterior design hadn't changed much since the 1978 model, and by 1981, it felt stale. The squared-off lines and upright grille made it look old-fashioned compared to sleeker, more modern designs from competitors. No real performance upgrades were offered to make up for its aging looks. The Ford Thunderbird and Dodge Murata were at least attempting newer designs, while Chevy kept recycling the same Monte Carlo formula. Chevrolet relied heavily on chrome trim to make the Monte Carlo look more upscale, but it only highlighted how little substance was underneath. Shiny grille and bumper trim. The front end was wrapped in chrome, but it did nothing to add actual presence or excitement. Side trim and wheel moldings. Chrome lined every major body panel, as if GM thought more shine would make up for less power. Fake wire wheels and vinyl roof options. These scream 1970s excess at a time when buyers wanted something fresh and modern. Too much chrome, not enough performance. The Monte Carlo looked the part of a luxury coupe, but it lacked the muscle to back it up. Comfortable ride. The soft suspension and plush seats made it great for highway cruising. Classic Monte Carlo look. Despite being dated, it still had that distinctive Monte Carlo style that some buyers loved. Decent fuel economy for a V8. Thanks to emissions tuning and weight reduction, it could get over 20 miles per gallon on the highway, a rarity for a V8 coupe. Affordable compared to luxury rivals. While not a true luxury car, it offered comfort and space at a lower price than Cadillacs or Lincolns. The 1981 Chevrolet Monte Carlo was a disappointment for muscle car fans. Once a bold and powerful coupe, it had devolved into a soft, slow, chrome-laden cruiser. While comfortable and stylish, it lacked excitement, making it feel outdated compared to its competition. Chevrolet leaned heavily on chrome and styling cues to distract from its weak performance. But buyers weren't fooled. It wasn't until 1983, with the return of the Monte Carlo SS, that Chevy finally gave the Monte Carlo some muscle again. For 1981, though, it was just another underpowered relic of the emissions-strangled era. A car that looked fast but wasn't. Number 2. The 1980 Pontiac Bonneville marked a significant departure from its earlier reputation as a stylish, full-size coupe. With the pressures of federal regulations, rising fuel prices, and a shift in consumer preferences, the Bonneville evolved into a bland and uninspired downsized box, stripping away much of the personality and performance that once defined it. The Bonneville had previously enjoyed a reputation for its sleek lines and bold design. By 1980, it transformed into a boxy shape, which felt dated even at the time. Gone were the curves and stylish cues that made it a standout. Instead, it became an anonymous entry in the full-size sedan market. Pontiac had a history of producing cars with powerful engines and sporty dynamics, but the 1980 Bonneville offered a lackluster performance. 3.8-liter, 231 cubic inch V6, 105 horsepower, weak and unresponsive. 5.0 liters, 305 cubic inches, V8, 145 horsepower, acceptable power but not exhilarating. 5.7 liters, 350 cubic inches, V8, 165 horsepower, the only choice for buyers seeking a semblance of performance. Acceleration and power felt sluggish, making it less appealing to those wanting a sporty drive. While the Bonneville had always prioritized a comfortable ride, the 1980 model's handling fell flat. Lack of responsiveness and poor steering feel left drivers feeling disconnected from the road. The heavy body roll during cornering made it feel more like a boat than a car, reducing confidence behind the wheel. The smooth ride came at the cost of driving enjoyment, alienating fans of Pontiac's sporty heritage. The early 1980s were a tough time for automakers, and Pontiac's budget constraints showed. The interior materials felt cheap, with a focus on cost-cutting over quality. Plasticky surfaces and low-grade upholstery detracted from the previously luxurious feel. Poor fit and finish became common, with gaps in body panels and squeaks from the interior. Pontiac aimed to position the Bonneville as a luxurious option, but the results were misguided. The marketing didn't resonate with buyers looking for performance or style. Many felt that the changes in the Bonneville didn't reflect Pontiac's traditionally youthful and sporty image. The result was a car that struggled to find its identity in a rapidly changing automotive landscape. In a bid to maintain a sense of luxury, Pontiac drenched the 1980 Bonneville in chrome, but this strategy only highlighted its shortcomings. Oversized chrome grille. The massive grille became the car's defining feature, but did nothing to enhance its aesthetics. Shiny bumpers, chrome bumpers, tried to evoke a sense of style, but instead felt clumsy and out of place on the bland body. Excessive chrome trim. While Pontiac hoped the shiny accents would add flair, they simply served to emphasize the lack of real character. The chrome-heavy design ultimately felt more like an afterthought, attempting to distract from the car's performance and personality. Spacious interior. The Bonneville offered plenty of room for passengers, making it a comfortable choice for families. Smooth ride. The focus on comfort ensured that it provided a pleasant experience for long drives. Affordable price point. Compared to other full-size luxury cars, the Bonneville remained affordable, appealing to budget-conscious buyers. The 1980 Pontiac Bonneville is a perfect example of how quickly a once-great nameplate can lose its luster. Transitioning from a stylish full-size coupe to a bland downsized box, it exemplified the struggles of the automotive industry during that era. While Pontiac attempted to salvage its image with chrome and luxury marketing, it simply couldn't mask the car's lack of power and personality. Ultimately, the 1980 Bonneville serves as a reminder of the importance of performance, style, and brand identity in the ever-evolving world of automobiles. Number 1. The 1981 Chrysler New Yorker Fifth Avenue attempted to evoke the opulence of classic American luxury cars, but instead emerged as a disappointing artifact from a bygone era. While it aimed to capture the essence of traditional luxury, it felt more like a relic of the 1970s, struggling to resonate with consumers in a rapidly changing automotive landscape. The Fifth Avenue's design was rooted in the 1970s aesthetic, featuring a boxy silhouette and massive dimensions that felt outdated by 1981. Despite its intention to convey luxury, the car lacked the sleekness and refinement that modern luxury vehicles were beginning to embrace. The exterior styling felt clumsy and overly simplistic, with few elements that could genuinely excite potential buyers. The New Yorker Fifth Avenue was equipped with a 5.2-liter, 318 cubic inch engine V8 engine, which produced only 150 horsepower. This powertrain struggled to provide the performance expected from a luxury sedan, resulting in a sluggish driving experience. Acceleration was lackluster, with many drivers feeling that the car was more focused on comfort than engaging performance. While the Fifth Avenue prioritized a smooth ride, this often came at the expense of handling. The floaty suspension contributed to a lack of responsiveness during cornering, leading to a disconnection between the driver and the road. The heavy steering made maneuvering cumbersome, especially in urban environments where agility is essential. Chrysler positioned the Fifth Avenue as a luxury sedan, but many aspects felt cheap or unrefined. The interior featured plush materials, but the overall craftsmanship did not match the quality associated with true luxury brands. Features like fake wood trim and vinyl upholstery undermined the luxury image Chrysler attempted to project. The 1981 Chrysler New Yorker Fifth Avenue struggled to find its place amid shifting consumer preferences. As American automakers faced competition from imports, the Fifth Avenue's emphasis on traditional luxury felt increasingly out of touch. Buyers were gravitating towards vehicles that offered a more modern approach to luxury, leaving the Fifth Avenue feeling irrelevant. Chrysler heavily embraced chrome detailing in the New Yorker Fifth Avenue, but this strategy ultimately felt outdated. Chrome everything, the grille, trim, door handles, and hood ornament were covered in chrome, aiming for a classic luxury look, but ended up looking excessive and gaudy. Overdone aesthetics. The sheer amount of chrome detracted from the car's overall elegance, making it seem more like a mobile jewelry store than a sophisticated sedan. Outdated appeal. While chrome can add a sense of luxury, in this case, it highlighted the car's dated design rather than enhancing its upscale image. Spacious interior. The car offered plenty of room for passengers, making it a comfortable choice for families and long-distance travel. Smooth ride quality. The focus on comfort ensured that it provided a pleasant driving experience, especially on the highway. Classic appeal. For some buyers, the nostalgic design elements held a certain charm, appealing to those who appreciated the vintage aesthetic. Dated and clumsy design lacked modern styling, making it feel like a relic from the past. Underwhelming performance. Weak engine options contributed to a lack of driving excitement. Poor handling, floaty ride quality led to a disconnected driving experience. Cheap luxury claims. Low-quality materials undermined the intended luxury image. Misguided positioning failed to connect with consumers seeking modern luxury options. Several competitors offered more appealing options during this period, showcasing better performance, design, or overall experience. Buick Electra presented a more modern design while still offering luxury and comfort. Cadillac Seville maintained its reputation for luxury with a more refined approach to styling and performance. Oldsmobile 98 balanced comfort and performance more effectively, appealing to traditional luxury buyers. Lincoln Town Car continued to define the American luxury sedan segment with its spaciousness and classic styling, while embracing modern updates. The 1981 Chrysler New Yorker Fifth Avenue is often viewed as a symbol of Chrysler's struggle to adapt to changing market demands. While it aimed to evoke the charm of classic American luxury, it ultimately fell short, leaving many consumers searching for alternatives. The model would go through various redesigns in the following years, but the 1981 iteration serves as a reminder of the challenges faced by American automakers during this transitional period. The 1981 Chrysler New Yorker Fifth Avenue represents a valiant but flawed attempt at delivering old-school luxury in a new era. While it featured spaciousness and comfort, the outdated design, poor performance, and excessive chrome detailing ultimately undermined its appeal.